took on this earthly pilgrimage, lost or will to live. The kingdoms at hand, place appears because of mental explosion, brain corrosion, collecting heads and Romans, awaken the lost tribes that's been chosen. The prophets have arisen to resurrect the chosen, while the universe stands frozen. The prophecies start unfolding, exploding. While the whole world sleeps, the shepherds of lost sheep creep deep to the golden gates. It's Esau the Lord hates, from crime to thievery to even murder and rape. We close the drapes, watch them like grapes, while these fakes that perpetrate. My people's there's no equal in this. We do the ride every 7 and 6. I know it's hard like bricks, but don't trip, we got the kingdom coming. No more slumming and bumming, the Lord's coming. Busting through, reach St. John 4 and 22, and guess who? The Lord's got a sword for. Settle the score. All you heathens hit the floor. See these 12 stars, defenders of the law. Tiger wasn't up to par for this. Scandalous, murderous, evangelist who's girded up, ready to die for the words of the script. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to thrill. You stepped in the zone when we excel. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to thrill. You stepped in the zone when we excel.
It's on, I pop my color like spawn, transform the sandstorm, right? I take storm, reborn like the children of the corn with the going on. Legion is swarm, be warm, sound of alarms, I harm dreams like hideous screams, posted in between ivory beams. Israelite kings, careless as particular cancer, bandage and damage and challenges, brandish, hang up the silence and smite them, light them like allergens. Oh yeah, drop the ass, spark the block of super shoulders, dropping bombs, bows and boulders, big shots, plays, big buzz with big ballers. I stop blazing, we the stack dollars, got more styles, more grooves than Elijah got post moves, so smooth, so cool, roll through and roast. You see lyrical vocals, cold crush and flow through. Sandstorm riders inside us, a motherfucking riot, phantom menaces with nail wrinkles of blemishes, and it's the venomous citizens witness the bandages in. Back to Genesis, it's simple and plain. We got you breaking for the bridge like Ichabod Crane. It's on.
We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to thrill. You stepped in the zone when we excel. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to thrill. You stepped in the zone when we excel.
I represent the struggle for excellence, no one can keep alive. A ghetto survivor born in a generation of vipers. The venom be the backbite, hating individuals here. Snake slither and snare, we don't feel over here.
Affliction is straight rough on the J, especially when you've been thrown in a pit of snakes. My breath intake be great, my mind state is like whatever it takes. I ain't off for the dough, let's get it straight. Now you wanna be bold, let the truth be told. Most of us don't know, we were sold like black gold. Niggas don't care, you rather get blowed. I ain't staying silent like tiptoes, I'm up early like the crow.
Pain and discipline, souls together in game rather than shattering stain. Build the tattered and main, banish the damaged and lame, ravish the bastards that claim, repping his thing. See what more balls and jock straps, more balls and crotch.
Shabbat shalom, shalom, peace, welcome, good evening, all that good stuff. It's your brother IQAhmath. I acquire first name IQ. It's all the same. You reach another episode of DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. You can't do that, won't do that, shouldn't do that. right? If you've been around, you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you have not, don't get too close because you might get shot. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shai. We back, man. Another episode. All praises. Seems like it's been a minute that I've done a DSTM. It's been a few weeks, really. Been concentrating on our digital IDs, then start dealing in the 10 tribes, and haven't really caught up on the current events with y'all. And I know you guys are always staying focused and diligent on it. So let's break bread and come to some more conclusions and some more understanding on the times that we're living in, because it's serious right now. And I said it before, I say it again, man. Times is of the essence. If we're looking at the time frame of when and how the children of Israel got taken down, why we was, put in a diaspora, the cursings, the whole 970 AD, a lot of that is going on currently right now, man. And unfortunately, if I'm reading and looking at things in the spirit, although we see everything that's happening outside of the world, prophetically and so forth and so on, internally within our nation, we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do, man. There's a lot of and it's mainly divisive or divisions based upon doctrine. And let me share something with y'all real quick, right? Doctrinal things is dividing up, and I get it. Sometimes you got to tear down. And like I said, unless it's something that I really feel needs to be addressed, it's like we don't have time to be kicking dead horses, and understandings get put out there to set the record straight on many a subject that I agree with. Regards to Cornelius being an Israelite, not a heathen, yes, I agree with that. I'm not with Cornelius was an Edomite. I'm not with and we're not with the Gentiles are going to receive a simultaneous salvation. No. And the rebuttals and the peer reviews and all that, that's been done. Yeah, I'm on in accordance with the brothers that have already spoken. That's why I said beating the dead horse at this point. You don't need to hear from me. My job is to continue on this straight and narrow path that's going to help my people see and understand the times that we're living in, to repent, to learn, and to grasp along the knowledge of salvation. Because let me tell you something, man. You talk about whether or not the heathen is going to get the kingdom, but are you? Am I? None of us got the golden ticket, man. This ain't Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and all that, man. They ain't no golden tickets that's all just sitting up waiting for us. Is Israel as a nation entitled to salvation? Absolutely. But do we have to do the work to get that salvation? That's what I'm concerned with. I'd like to see my name in that book of life. I'd like to see my name, exalted in the heavenly kingdom of the Father, and our people. So, let's stay on point, man. That's my lot, and that's what it is for me. But nonetheless, just in case anybody, and some of y'all probably not even tripping, but just to go on the record, because somebody say, man, MOTC, IQ, they ain't never said nothing about that. Maybe they agree. No, we don't agree with the doctrines that's been put out there, right? But let's get to a scripture, man. Ephesians 4, and I'm going to start at 1, and we're going to skip around a little bit for time's sake, right? Ephesians 4:1. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. Listen, that's one thing. The Lord said that we have to walk worthy of the vocation, meaning the job that we've been called to do. We have to constantly prove ourselves that we're worthy of being in the positions of the knowledge of who we are. 8.5 billion people in the world, man. The Lord said, little o you, little o me. I'm going to give you the keys to understand creation, who you are, who the nations are, how I judge. I'm going to give you moral, civil, dietary, ceremonial, and sacrificial laws that's going to set you apart and above all the rest of the nations. I'm going to give you insights regarding prophecies and when everything's going to crash down. I'm going to give you a head start above all the rest of the nation. I mean, for us to be blessed with that, many of us would be considered not worthy, including myself. But for whatever reason, the Most High said, you have been predestinated to receive and understand this word, man. And you got to take this baton and run with it. And we constantly have to prove ourselves worthy of this vocation, man, worthy of this job. Because at any point in time, any of us can get fired. Continuing on, it says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. See, that's a hard principle for our people to grasp onto. Lowliness and meekness, number one. Especially now we're in a climate where, it's the internet has, even when the scriptures tell us in what is it, 1 Timothy 3, about, in the last days perilous times shall come, and men shall be lovers of themselves. Like, even the internet has presented that. And I've given this analogy many a times. And even within the Israelite community, it's become that, where the internet now, and the fame that comes along with it, and the money that comes along with it, the adoration that comes along with it, the ego that comes along with it, has us eating at each other's throats to say, well, my doctrine is more supreme and superior. My camp is larger than yours. Look at what we've got going on over here. Look at my new video production. Look at our editing. Look at our thumbnails, whatever, right? And the lowliness and the meekness gets left behind, because but many brothers and sisters are looking to be exalted in this digital sphere that they call the internet, But we have to still learn how to practice these particular principles of lowliness and meekness. Long suffering, forbearing one another in love. Yeah, it's frustrating for me as far as, seeing what's going on within our nation, man. And being in this for so long, you end up having to learn about long suffering and forbearing one another. We always look at, and if you've been in this long enough, man, you'll see that certain doctrines and certain things are cyclical. They come around, they go around, come around, they go around, come around, go around. And we're in the spirit in the season now where now it's time to examine doctrine again. And some things are rising themselves up. One year it could be the calendar, next year it could be different aspects of the law. Another time now it's about the Gentiles. Now it's about who's who in the scriptures. Now it's about the tribe chart, or in the Christian circles. Oh, it's the Trinity. Oh, we want to deal with the curse. The Deuteronomy 28 already happened. The Immaculate Conception. Things constantly circulate. There's always things going on with the Kemetic community, and going back and forth with them. That dies down. Then something else rises up. Up here comes Islam again. Up here comes Christianity again. Oh, now once we've knocked down many of those stumbling blocks for our people, speaking about, Christianity is going to forever be a thorn in our side, but we've shown over the years that the doctrines that come out of that dogmatic system of thinking cannot compete with us scripturally. So what do? We turn on each other. When there's nothing else to eat outside, what do the lions do? You start cannibalizing, and that's what we're doing in the spirit right now. So I refuse to, I refuse to gnaw on and bite on, my brother and my sister at this point right now. At this point, right? So we gotta forbear a little bit, right? But what do we got to do? Endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. So, practicing those things is very important. Endeavoring is going to be a job. It's going to be an effort that has to be taking place to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. Many, certain brothers in camp, they don't want to hear all that. Oh man, open rebuke is better than secret love. Oh, debate thy cause. But the scriptures even tell us in Philippians that there's some that teach Christ out of strife and debate. That's their lot. That's what they like to do. That's how they figure they're going to gain the sheep. I understand that. So I don't deal with that. It's not mine, so to speak. But what we all been commanded to do is this right here. Now, dropping down, let me get right to it. Now, verse 12 down to 14 says, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. So there was gifts that was given to men. As we see in verse 11, tells us some are apostles, prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers. All of these gifts and all of these brothers come together collectively, whatever camp, congregation you're in, whatever, are all systematically placed by the Most High to do what? Perfect the saints for the work of the ministry. Everybody's doing their work, everybody's doing their lot, right? But the whole goal is to perfect the work of the ministry of the saints and edifying in the body of Hamashiach. Verse 13, till we all come in the unity of the faith. So it's gonna have to be a collective. We're all gonna have to come together eventually. We're gonna have to figure it out sooner or later. Let me get one more tab open, Zephaniah 2. It said till we all come, right? Zephaniah 2, 1 and 2. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a shaft. So me, as a watchman, I'm looking to see, hey, look, the shaft is bubbling, it's lit, right? And this is the time that we have to be paying attention to, because guess what? The Lord said that his anger is going to come upon us. The scriptures say that judgment must begin at the house of the Lord first. So if anything, the children of the Lord, we're going to get our whoopings first before he's concerned about the kids outside. Before the decree bring forth, before the day passeth the chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahweh come upon you, before the day of Yahweh's anger come upon you. See, our job is to CYA. If you know, you know, right? So the scriptures say we all have to come to the unity. It ain't just me and my camp, you and your. No, eventually we all gonna come. We all gonna have to figure it out. And the cold part is that many of us aren't going to either get it until it's too late, or it's going to cause. It's going to take a catastrophic, prophetic, divine affliction, oppression, so forth and so on, that's going to cause us to say, hey, look, whatever acronym camp you come from, I don't give a damn. It's about you, me, and your family, my family. It's just us right now in the situation. So you can forget about whatever you had going on at one point in time when you was rolling with your camp. Hey, we're stuck out here in this wilderness. We're stuck out here in this particular part of the city, and the earthquake done hit. Everything shut down. Most High made us bump into each other. We got to pull together and stick it out. You know, certain scenarios like that is going. The Most High gonna say, man, you gonna need each other when it's all said and done. Verse 3, seek ye Yahweh, all ye meek of the earth. See that? Which have wrought his judgment, seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of Yahweh's anger. So if you want to know how we're going to escape in one of the ways we'll be hid from said judgment, the Lord says seeking after righteousness, which is laws and the commandments, moving in meekness, right? And endeavoring to keep the unity of the faith, keeping it all together in the faith. Verse 13 again, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of Yahweh, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. So none of us have made it there. We're all trying to gain and move towards that perfection of man. It says, until we reach the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. So we got a lot of work to do just by observation and seeing what's going on in it. My brother sent me a video a couple of days ago, and it be your own damn people. It's an Old Testament only demon that made an AI video depicting and using the image and a likeness of brothers from different camps that brother from WFI, uh, uh, Naquan. They had two of the elders from GMS. They had who else was on there? One of the elders of the generals at UPK. There was a few brothers on there, and they were trying to, manipulate. Uh, I believe it's Matthew 26, where Yahweh broke bread and said, "Here, eat. This is my body," and he gave them wine. Said, "Here, drink. This is my blood," and made them look like they were eating bread and drinking bottles of blood. Because the OT onlys love to say, well, look at this. The New Testament promotes cannibalism. So they had AI videos manipulating these brothers, make it look like they was eating and drinking blood, eating flesh of man and drinking blood as an AI video. And if you got a keen eye, you would have caught it off the rip. But some, that aren't really, too hip to looking for some of the things that happen within AI, might have got fooled at first. Like, what the hell is this? Tripping. But I told y'all a long time ago that was going to happen. AI was going to be used to manipulate and to persecute the saints of the Most High. Right. But in this go round, it's your own damn people that's doing it. The Antichrist demon, whoever the cat was, because at the end of the video, he gave his little spiel, and I didn't even really watch all of that because I was just like, this is some real foolishness. But when it's all said and done, it's your own damn people the one doing this, right? So even outside of that, we're looking at the work that needs to be done for us to become perfect men and women in this faith and measuring up to the stature of the fullness of Christ. Verse 14 is key, though. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. At some point in time, you got to have 10 toes down, man, and you got to be grown in this thing. You got to be grown and not be infatuated by who and what everybody's watching on the internet and who's got the most live viewers and who's got the most views and who's the most entertaining and who's the most charismatic. And because you see our people getting tossed to and fro all of a sudden now. One point in time, brothers firm in their understanding regarding salvational issues, and now all of a sudden is we don't think that's the case anymore. And then the sheep are scattering around saying, well, what is it now? I'm lost, I'm wrong. But many are saying, hell no, I'm not with it. So, that's where we're at with it. But the Lord said we can't be tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine by what? The sleight of men and cunning craftiness whereby they lie in wait to deceive. So no marvel that these are issues that we see going on within our nation because it's here, right? But nonetheless, you got to deal with it. You got to stare it in the face. You got to understand what time it is, and then you got to say, okay, you know what? I see where we're in, what time we're in, when the time of Acts, when the time of the apostles and persecution and whatnot, right? And I'm not going to be tossed to and fro because I see what time it is. Let me get a couple more, and then we're gonna get to some of these current events, right? I'm coming in solid, man. Throw a 7 in the chat if y'all can, hear and hear me well. And I'm gonna continue on. Second Ezra 14, right? And we just got to seeing in Zephaniah 2. What do we need to be doing in these times right now? Because I'm gonna tell y'all, man, I said it last year, and I'm gonna continue making that mark as we continue on. That last year I said 2025 is gonna be a challenging year, a different type of year, and it was, and it has been, and it's gone by like that. 2026 is gonna be even more turn. I'm gonna just give y'all the heads up now. Many of y'all know it, many of y'all feel it in the spirit. But 2026 is gonna be next level, right? As we continue ascending, it's gonna be next level. Verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off the weak nature. You know, this is something we got to be keen on. Now the scripture tells us that number one, set your house in order. You don't have a household, as you a single man, single woman, your house is your spirit. Get it in order, right? Make sure you're in alignment, man. 2 Corinthians 13:5 tells us you gotta always examine yourself. You know, there's constant checks and balances. We may go a long time and not really check ourselves and just going about our daily time. But do we stop and pause and say, damn, how am I hold myself in this truth, man? Am I still moving with the same diligence that I did, 2 months ago, a year ago, a week ago? Have I, renounced corruption? Am I still moving in the old man or old woman? Do I still have work to do within my own household? Getting things in order, keeping me and minds prepared. How much more work do we do? It's constant work. And I'm speaking to y'all just as much as I'm speaking to myself. What else has to happen? Correction of our people. Once you get, we got to move, putting our houses in order and go out and correct our people. Then you also have to have compassion. You also have to have meekness, humility. You also have to have a charitable spirit when it says comfort such as them that be in trouble, and renounce corruption. So we have to take a stand against evil and corruption. Can't sit back and be complacent and just sit back and say, that ain't my business. That ain't, it is what it is. All right, I'm out of here. Putting the blinders on. No. Let go of the mortal thoughts. We can't be worried about, what's going on, in our lifetimes, or what's going on with our jobs, what's going on with this, the pressures and the stresses and the depressions and the anxieties and, the not knowings of what's going to happen, tomorrow. Yahweh told us, give no thought for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to take care of itself. He said, look at the birds, man, the ravens. Are they worried about what they're going to eat tomorrow? They're not even tripping. They know they're going to survive the next day. We have to take on that same mind state. But when you got babies crying, you got bills to pay, you got things going on, and you're saying, damn, the natural element of the spirit is to have you be worried and stressing and anxious and trying to figure things out. But the Lord said at some point in time, as the Christians would say, which I give them credit for this, let go and let God. Sometimes we have to do that. The book of Psalms 55, Christ said, excuse me, the Lord said, cast thy burdens upon me and I'll fight for you. Cast away the burdens of man, put off the weak nature. Sister's gonna have to take that second Maccabees 7. That woman had to take the stomach of a man that she's seen her 7 sons get put to death in brutal fashion and still maintain her integrity with the law of the Most High. Right? The weak nature, man. One thing, man. Matter of fact, me and a couple of brothers was talking about it earlier. Brother Bayana sent the video regarding Elder Ariah from One West back in the day, and some other elders from House of David. And they were talking about the upbringing of them coming up in the truth in the 80s and the 90s, and how the elders over them was harsh and strict, and was armed brothers, but was fair and was loving, and was father figures to them. And you had to deal with it like that. And I experienced that as well, coming up in the truth in the early 90s and maintaining. And one thing they, brothers used to always say, man, you got to have tough skin. If you came in the truth in the 90s, and I'm sure in the 80s, you had to have tough skin. Brothers was no nonsense. Brothers was definitely super zealous for the truth and wasn't effing around. And if you had, if you was the slightest bit sensitive or had an effeminate way about you, it was going to get sniffed out, man, and the hounds was going to be on you. And there's a lot of that in Israel right now. There's a lot of brothers, man, can't take correction, can't take reproof. can't take direction, don't want order, don't want structure over them, don't, you know, and that a lot of that is weak nature, man, because, if we look at the construction of the children of Israel coming out that wilderness, man, we had to be assembled in armies. It said when uh, Abraham left out of Ur of Chaldees, it said he left with his army. We come from a militant, we come from a disciplined background. That's the legacy of our forefathers, man. We wasn't willy-nilly. And everybody just doing whatever, when we did get to that point in the book of Judges, when it said everybody did what was right in their own eyes, all hell broke loose and our nation was in shambles. Then we had to have kings put over us to instill some order back into the dang nation. So the Lord said, we got to put off the weak nature and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and cast thee and haste thee to flee from these times, right? And that's where we're at now, hasting to flee from these times, right? So the Lord said, you got to set your house in order, get everything situated, man, so that we can be prepared in that day. Sirach 38:10. Leave off from sin and order thine hands aright. So we got to make sure that we're doing things orderly, doing things righteously, doing things through the Spirit of the Most High in Christ, right? Cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. So we constantly got to be working on spiritually cleansing ourselves, man. And it's a daily thing. Staying fervent in your prayer, constantly sharpening yourselves in the laws and the commandments. You see what's going on around you. Time is of the essence. I'm not saying, it's knocking at the door next year, Yahweh Shai is coming back. I don't know. But what we do is we measure the time diligently within itself, and we kind of get a grasp and understand, like, okay, we see where we're at and move accordingly. But the number one thing is we got to leave off from sin. If you leave it to the churches, they're saying there is no sin. They'll say there's sin, but you can't have sin without the law. And they love to say that the laws are done away with. We know 1 John 3:4 says that sin is a transgression of the law. So we can't be, hypocritical or contradictory in that. But they won't give you this particular instruction to tell you leave up from sin and set your hands aright. They'll tell you let go and let God, believe and plead the blood of Jesus, get dunked in some water, live life as a Gentile, and you'll be straight. This is all bad advice and wisdom that our people being given. That's why we're in the place that we're in right now. Psalms 140. Let's just read the first 5 verses. Deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. This is a prayer that we need to have locked in, because Agent Orange are sitting in that White House, man, that just got through firing the cat building the ballroom on the west wing of the White House. Just fired him because the dude told him, he said, look, man, this is you're doing too much. This is too big. Fired him for saying that, right? You see what he's doing, declaring war on the blacks and browns. Not only are we talking about immigration, you see what the war he's been threatening to declare on Nigeria, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico. The list goes on and on. As he's desirous of a Nobel Peace Prize, he's starting nothing but wars, and he's talking about peace. Building a surveillance state, a digital ID. He's spending $500 billion on AI technology. One thing that and I didn't put it in here, but that he's lying, running around. We talked about it a few weeks ago when he's talking about he's going to give everybody a minimum of $2,000 dividend refund based upon these tariffs. First of all, again, he hasn't even collected enough money to even pay that out. Now he's talking about, we might give you're going to get big fat income tax checks according to the what do you say? Basically, according to their projections, there's going to be big income tax checks coming next year because they're collecting trillions of dollars from the tariffs, which is a lie. He's collected like 300 billion. But this is the games that they play just to kind of string you along, carrot on the string, right? To have everybody kind of believe, oh, see, he's changing the economy. Things are coming around. Look, no. At least in that video, I believe Naquab sent, at least Fox News was being honest and was like, yeah, that's not going on. That's not happening. But hey, we got to give them an effort for trying to instill incentives for our people to work and file their taxes and all that. Now they even said in that report, I ain't got it on here, but you can look it up for yourself. They said that half of the people, half of the country doesn't file for income taxes for whatever reason, right? Now, in order for you to get in order to get this refund, you have to file taxes. So what does that mean? They have to figure out a way on how they can collect the data and information of the people who have yet to submit their information to the government. And if you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, when I showed an article about the digital ID, and they said the Palantir was working with the IRS and their database to collect data. So what does that mean? The IRS is going to be used as a watchdog to collect information. So now if you're saying we got to figure out a method in order to get people to submit all the information, people that haven't been filing their taxes, they're going to want that extra money. So guess what? We'll get the information that way. IRS gets it. They funnel it to Palantir. Now the grid is complete. We got everybody. See how that works? And all it takes is a little bit of money. See, that's why the Lord said, surely oppressor maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart in Ecclesiastes 7:7. Now, continuing on, it says, preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. He's constantly thinking of mischief and folly and foolishness and lies and deceptions and sitting back, exalting himself as the next thing, best thing since sliced bread. Which imagine mischiefs in their heart continually are they gathered together for war. Right. So even when you're looking at Putin and the Ukraine war, and they talk about, oh yeah, the peace deal was on the table. America and Ukraine have come to an agreement. We're just waiting on Russia to sign off on it. That ain't happening. Why? Because he's continually gathered for war. That's a so-called white man. Whether it's Putin, whether it's Trump, whether it's Netanyahu, not a Jew, whether it's Emmanuel Macron, you name it. The names change, but the faces remain the same. That red face always going to remain the same. Verse 3, they have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Yeah, speaking forked-tongue madness, as usual. You thought Slow Biden was bad, man. Agent Orange is a close second. He's working on it too. I mean, he's even stumbling upstairs now. He's doing a whole lot. He's having some issues like Slow Biden too, physically. It says they've sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Stay live. Verse 4, keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings. The proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. Selah. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're setting out a digital ID platform. They're creating a beast system that's going to have everybody tracked, traced, surveilled. Everybody's going to be replaced by AI. I'm sure some of y'all have seen some of the videos, the reports. Some of the whistleblowers that have left the Silicon Valley sphere that are out saying, hey, I was part of that and I had to get out of there because I see where it's going. It's wicked as hell. The AI. Somebody hear me yelling at the rooftop saying, guess what? It's out of control. I went into it thinking it was cool technology, thinking it was going to help everybody. Now I see they're doing it to replace everybody. And it's a winner take all situation to where this nation is working on their version of AI. That's why Agent Orange said that we have to be the leader in AI and tech. I'm dumping $500 billion on it, man. We can't let Chinese get a hold of the the narrative. We can't let the Russians get a hold of the narrative. Whoever controls the tech controls the future, and that's what they're doing. Those are the scenarios. These are some of the scenarios, man. Let alone the lies, the histories, you know, everything that's been out there, the religions, the false doctrines. You know, all of these particular snares and cores tie us down and to have us be separated from our power. All right. Let's start off. So hopefully, man, everybody understands where I'm coming from, and we'll get to some of these articles. Now, you know, it's been a couple weeks since this was on deck, but again, we haven't convened and we ain't broke bread in a couple weeks. So, you know, here it is. US and Ukraine finalizing the peace deal, but Russia is likely to reject the changes. Yeah, absolutely. Russia is unlikely to accept changes in the new peace plan to end the war that the US and Ukraine are negotiating over. Says analyst, even the U.S. Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll is in the United Arab Emirates meeting with the Russian delegation, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected in the United States in the coming days. As nothing has come of that, you know. Agent Orange was looking for a pat on the back, saying, "See, you thought I couldn't do it. I got Ukraine to, you know, the bow down and believe." And no. Must we go here again? Hold on. Must we go here again? Let's go to 1 Thessalonians 5. Y'all know where we're going. 1 Thessalonians 5, where we run down to 3. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. See, Paul was saying, look, you know what time it is. You know the time and the season, brother. I ain't got to tell you. You know, and I appreciate and love all y'all that constantly come in and support to get information and get knowledge. And a lot of y'all are on the same accord. I ain't got to tell you, but you still tune in to say, you know, I like the way he says it. I like the way he breaks it down. I like this stuff that he brings out. Some stuff you may not ever seen or even knew what was going on. Some stuff y'all are already on. Y'all telling me. That's how we work. Iron sharpening iron, right? But even Paul, man, I ain't got to tell you. You know what time it is. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. There is no escaping, man. Peace, safety, all that is out the door. This is not the season. Ecclesiastes 3 tells us that there's a time for war and there's a time for peace. We're beyond peace right now. It's a time for war. All the nations are declaring it. They just had I think it was a French general or something, said that they were ready he was ready to get it cracking with Russia, with NATO. But he's low level and doesn't have the authority to make that call. And many are questioning, why did he even pop out and even say that? Provoking Russia. But guess what? We're going to see how Putin responded to that. So right here, you see the Kremlin says it's premature to say peace deal with Ukraine is close. You know, they were running with this like wildfire when they were saying, oh, peace deal might be on the table. Peace deal's here. Trump did it. No, he didn't. They didn't even consider. Russia was sitting back saying, no. And much of the deal was in favor of Russia. They were going to give them extra territories. I covered it a few weeks back. They were going to limit Ukraine's army to like 600,000, ban them from ever applying for NATO membership. They had to surrender territories to Russia. It was a favorable deal for Russia, and Russia still said no. So that is to let you know that the spirit of war, the Most High, is stirred up within Putin, and it's like, no, it's not going down. That's at Ezekiel 38. He's being pulled in and hooks in his jaw. He's nothing he can do about it. And there ain't a deal on the table that's gonna make him say yes because the Most High is telling him say no. Here he goes. Let him say it. Putin says Russia is ready for war if Europe wants it. I told y'all a few weeks ago that NATO does not want a peace deal. Europe is working hard on thwarting the efforts of America to try to stop this war. See, Trump is trying to get he got his hands full with the economy. He's got his hands full with China, Taiwan, with AI, with tech. He's got his hands full with the Russia-Ukraine situation, with Netanyahu and the conflict in the Middle East with Palestine. He got his hands full, and he's like, "Look, man, I want that Nobel Peace Prize. I just want to limit my problems." And NATO was like, "The hell with what you're talking about. We're not. We want war with Russia. We need to get them off the table." So they don't want and never wanted a peace deal. So there's been word that they even had some efforts of sabotaging any peace deal. Now watch what Putin says about what came out.
I had a crazy idea. We were surprised that no one had done it before.
Success doesn't follow a formula.
Come on.
Мы не собираемся воевать с Европой, я уже об этом 100 раз сказал. Но если Европа вдруг захочет...
Now he said, we're not planning to fight with Europe. I've said it 100 times. But what? They keep poking, they keep prodding, they keep provoking. Let me back this up. I'm gonna just let it play. It's only 53 seconds. I ain't gonna stop it.
Европа, я уже об этом 100 раз сказал. Но если Европа вдруг захочет с нами воевать и начнет, мы готовы прямо сейчас. То есть здесь не может быть никаких сомнений. Только вопрос в чем? Если Европа вдруг начнет с нами войну, мне кажется, что очень быстро, это же не Украина. С Украиной мы там действуем хирургическим способом, аккуратненько, так? Чтобы, понятно, да? Это не война в прямом, современном смысле этого слова. Если Европа вдруг захочет начать с нами войну и начнет ее, то очень может быстро произойти ситуация, при которой нам не с кем будет договариваться.
That's cold. Now, did you hear that? Now, here's another. I didn't even see this one, and I can't play that one. But it says NATO considering, quote, preemptive action against Russia and hybrid warfare. So this is what was on the table and has been on the table. This is the preamble before World War III really cracks, right? Because Putin was hearing this chatter about NATO considering preemptive strikes. So he said, look, I already told Europe, we don't want no smoke, man. Just leave us alone and we'll be cool. But if you want to get it on and cracking, we can get it on cracking right now. And he said, and it won't be like Ukraine. He said, Ukraine, it's not really a war. We're just surgically, cutting them up. But with Europe, I'm ready to let everything fly. He said, there won't be anyone left to negotiate if I got to go to war with Russia. He said, it's not going to be tactical, not going to be surgical. What's he implying? Oh, the Satan II bombs and the rest of the ICBMs and you name it, right? And then America's got to get involved because of Article 5 in NATO, but America has even been on board and even Trump has been saying that he's not going to honor Article 5 and get involved if it goes there, which is going to lead to Revelation 17, where it tells you about the 10 horns hating the whore and going to burn her up because that's what's going to end up happening. NATO, the European Union, the rest of it, there's going to be conflict between them and America, and they're going to turn on America, which is already on the table. So Putin says, hey, look, you want to get it on, man, let's get it cracking right now. If not, get out the way, because I'm not going to play with you. One ICBM, one nuke can destroy all of France. France is like the size of the Midwest here in America. That whole thing could be gone. Shout out to my people out there in London and the UK. My beloved brothers and sisters out there. But even that is a targeted area, man. They saying they wiped that out with one fell swoop. Germany, a lot of the European nations over there is on conscription. They're over there drafting right now, getting prepared. We've been covering this for a little while now, but now he's on record. Putin is on record saying, if you want to get it cracking, man, we can get it on right now. And NATO is like, oh, okay, hold on. We got to double back. We got to talk about this because they ain't ready for it. Oops, lucky. So when we see stuff like that, let's go back to Job. Job 31. We're gonna read verse 3. It says, "It's not destruction to the wicked, and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity." Right? See, this is how we know that inevitably the nukes, the destruction, the so-called natural disasters, everything that's being unleashed here on the earth right now is all punishing the wicked. The Lord said He's angry with the wicked every day. So this is why we're not going to see peace deals. We're not going to see an end to the drama that we're seeing throughout all the nations, because the Lord said destruction must come to the wicked and strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. See, isn't it I think it's the Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, where the scriptures say, man, that the nations are going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation with terrible fear. Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. See, that's part of the strange punishment to the workers of iniquity, man. When you see them chariots coming, scooping up blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics with beards and dresses and fringes on, and being pulled out of the fiery quagmire that's going to be left of America, man. They're gonna say that's the strangeness of their salvation. You see now Esau talking about the 3-eye atlas. Oh, it's got a propulsion system. Oh, we're hearing a pulsating like a heartbeat on the thing. I mean, they're doing a whole lot with that thing, man. They're doing a whole lot with it. But nonetheless, one thing for sure, two things for certain. The Bible definitely speaks about the chariots and the quote unquote UFOs, or what they call them now? Aerial I forgot what they calling them now. They ain't calling them UFOs no more. They're calling them aerial identified objects. I forgot what if one of y'all remember what they calling IFOs now, we call them IFOs, identifiable flying objects. They say it's unidentified. We identify, but they calling them a something. I forgot. But anyway, the Lord said there's going to be a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity, man. So you talking about annihilation and destruction? People scratching their head saying, that's strange. Why would God do that? I thought God loved everybody. No. It's going to be strange to you because you don't understand the power of our Father, and you don't understand His judgments and how He operates, but not for the rest of us. Proverbs 24:2. It says, I'm going to read 1 and 2. It says, be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. See? Making a separation from evil people and wicked, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why the Lord called us to be set apart from these nations, man. We're not even supposed to be intertwining and dealing with them on anything outside of business-related matters, man. You ain't supposed to be hanging out and chilling with the Lord. Said, man, you better separate yourself. So the Lord said, everyone that's found with them is going to be thrust through. And you can't be envious against their evils and what they're doing. Look what they're getting away with, man. I'm going back into the world. Brother done fell out the truth, man. He making more money than he ever did. Yeah, that's because Satan sat back and said, here's your reward. But guess what? This is all I can offer you. But when judgment time comes, you ain't going to have nothing but the lake of fire and destruction coming to you and your soul. Hope it was worth it. Can't be envious of evil, man. You see brothers out there doing all kind of evil and wickedness and they getting away. Nah, you can't be envious of that. Stay on your path. Carry your lot. Carry your burden. Do what you need to do to continue on. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. There you go. Kohath, appreciate you. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. See, that's Esau, man, always trying to change up the damn acronyms and narratives, drawing confusion. It's like, man, what are you changing from a UFO anyway for? Just to throw out some more damn confusion. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. Whatever. Now, continuing on, it says, be not thou envious against evil men. neither desire to be with them. For their hearts study of destruction and their lips talk mischief. That's that's the legacy of the so-called white man. They study study destruction. That's why the Most High said he created the smith in Isaiah, because that's his thing. Esau living by the sword. That's what he studies. When you see how he plummeted and pillaged the Americas, the doctrine of discovery, the papal bulls set out by Pope Alexander VI and the rest of the wicked popes, right? Their heart study of destruction. That's all their mind is focusing on. Destroying economies, destroying people's homes. Right now we're seeing it's just about the haves and the have-nots right now. You're seeing even athletes now complaining about how hard it is to survive off of their salaries. What was the guy? OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. had the nerve to pop out and say $100 million ain't enough to live off of. In the midst of people losing SNAP benefits, people robbing food banks in Detroit. I mean, what are you talking about? You can't survive off 100 million. Well, after 100 million, after taxes, it's only 60 million in it. Nigga, are you crazy? You cannot say that in the climate that people are in right now. You're making and made, and because you blew it, it is what it is. But you're not even that, not even him. But I've been seeing athletes talking about them living check to check just like everybody else. But the overhead that they got, the taxes that they got to pay. You just seen what's the brother from Bud Crawford? And I didn't even know this. Bud Crawford, a boxer, just beat Canelo. The champion has to pay the sanctioning fees for those belts that they receive. So you got the WBO, the WBO, WBA, and Ashar, help me out. You know all of the boxing title rankings. WBO, WBA, and there's one more. But you got to pay for those belts. And 2 out of the 3, he paid the fees. The WBO, I believe, is the one that said, no, we want more money. And he said, man, I'm not paying no more money. Everybody, WBC and IBF. There you go. WBC, IBF. He said, I'm not paying. The other 2 took the money. We already settled up. Why are you trying to ask for more money than them? So they said, well, if you ain't going to pay, then give up them belts. And he had to surrender the belts. That's how you know it's a straight up scam and a gladiator sport, man, where there is no honor amongst thieves. You have brothers going in there, getting their heads bashed in, suffering CTE and everything else, and you got to pay for your victory. That's a complete scam, man. Wicked as hell. But nonetheless, that's what he ended up having to do. You see a lot of these athletes out here, man, complaining about, 300,000, man. And then you had old coon, what's his name? De La Hoya. And De La Hoya has been caught cross-dressing and doing coke and all kind of stuff, man. He should just be quiet. He jumped out and told Bud, man, you made $10 million. You need to go ahead and honor the sport. Man, go sit down and shut up and get your life together. Because Lord knows De La Hoya had problems. He got busted on camera and the whole 9 in complete folly. But this is Esau, man. All they do is study destruction and their lips talk mischief. This place is wild. So here he is studying destruction. He said, man, if you want smoke, come get it. We ready. Now, look at this. Several hundred Russian soldiers are said to be deployed in Venezuela along with at least 1 general. So when we're talking about the imminent invasion of Venezuela, Trump's been down there, carousing around the island, sending ships into the Pacific, waiting for a false flag to happen so they can go blow up some more boats. They were just going through a whole little tribunal with the Pete Hegseth and the general that sent out the word or the destruction the orders for the bombings. And the reports are coming out, man, that one of the boats that they blew up didn't kill everybody, and there were men that was hanging on to the remains of the boat, and they went back for a second bombing, man, to make sure they wiped them out. Leave no witnesses, right? I mean, this is the type of folly the so-called white man is into. But guess what? As we've talked about before, Russia has Venezuela's back. I did see an article though, where Putin told Venezuela, man, you on your own. We backing out. Let me see if I can find that. Well, maybe not. I seen one. Where else is it up? Maybe they pulled it. Maybe they pulled it. But I seen the headline, but I didn't read the article. Look, Putin and Maduro's perfect harmony. Trump says Putin's trying to help Venezuela. Putin ready to respond to Venezuela's call for help. Look at this. And now the word is Russia's already got troops down there and generals down there, help training and getting them ready. This is why Maduro told him, "Nah, I ain't going nowhere." Because Trump said, "Man, you better get up out of there. Get up out of there. We're gonna give you a chance to take you and your family up out of there, man, before we take over and start bombing." And he said, "Man, I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm going down with the ship. Matter of fact, the bear got my back." Trump continues banging war drums against Venezuela without ever taking any real action to make good on those threats. Currently, around 15,000 personnel have been repositioned to the United States Southern Command's area of responsibility. It's taken months to achieve this. In the meanwhile, Venezuela's regime, as led by socialist Nicolas Maduro, has had time to disperse its military assets and to call upon its allies to send reinforcements. Yeah, what was it? Earlier this week, Trump said there was a no-fly zone over there in Venezuela, man, get ready. But Russian soldiers is down there too now. So, this could be something that could even spark a greater war or greater conflict between America and Russia. Let me see. Hold on. Is this the one? Because I had a couple of different PowerPoints, and some of them had the same information, some didn't. It's lucky, y'all. Let me see. I'm just looking at how these were ordered, and might not be. Yep, it's lucky. That's okay. This will work fine. We're gonna go with this one. We're gonna go with this one. Now, economically, man, that's why I said strap up, get ready. Next year is gonna be interesting. Agent Orange is out there promising everybody the world. He's gonna open up the floodgates. Money's gonna be flowing out of his butt cheeks into the palms of your hands. Somehow, some way. I don't know how, when there ain't no money. But look here, more Americans are getting their power shut off as unpaid bills pile up. Well, if you've been listening to me for a little while, I've been saying, hey, you want to make sure that you got a little backup power, just in the event lights get cut off, rolling blackout, can't pay the bill, whatever the case may be. You got a backup generator, you got, candles, flashlights, you got something in the house that's gonna make sure that you got some power. You got you even got small little solar chargers just for phones. So you get the phone off, man. You're $8 signed out. Matter of fact, throw y'all a bone real quick. Real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Why not? Why not? Give me 1 second. All right, Slucky. All right, so look, not a paid promotion or nothing, right? You see this little thing right here? It's got a compass on the back, help you with your direction. Want to send up your prayers, you want to find where the east is. Having a little compass is going to help you as well, right? This is a solar-based USB charger. See the ports there? You can insert your USB plugs there. Even if you have those type, I think it's A ports or whatever, you can, this is where you plug it in, you charge it, put the plug in, plug it into USB, into a power source, into a power cord, and charge it. You can charge it electrically, or you can use the solar panel to charge it up. Also has a little flashlight. In the event that you get caught out there in the dark, see that? You got your alerts, right? All of the above. Now, why do I bring this out? Because this is just one little power source that can help you in the event of emergency. So your power goes out, whatever the case may be. You know what happens with our people, man. People can't live without the phones. You can't communicate, whatever it is, right? Make sure you at least have this. And why do I know that this is important, man? Love my brothers and sisters, man. But when we was out there in Tabernacles, man, you know how many people was running to me to charge their phones up? IQ, can I use your charger? Can I use your charger? I need to charge my phone. And I'm sitting back like, yeah, okay, here, come on. Yeah, plug it in. And it's all good. That's what it was there for. But hopefully in the minds of my brothers and sisters out there, they're saying next year or next time or right now, I need to make sure I'm prepared so I have these things in the future in the event that I need them. Don't wait until Tabernacles. Don't wait till the lights get cut off and what. Don't wait until, something goes down and you're sitting in the dark for 2 or 3 days. Have your stuff ready now. And this ain't but maybe $20. At the time when I bought it, and I got a couple of them, a few years back, they was maybe about $20, right? That's just a small little thing, but just something to keep in mind because guess what? First thing people run into is looking for their phones or maybe even, any other small electronic, a tablet, things like that. This will charge it up. May take a little minute, but it will keep your power going when you have little devices that you need in a time of crisis. That's a little PSA, a little wisdom for y'all, all right? And I'm advertising a little something. But nonetheless, let's get back to it. But if we see here and we see in this article, man, a number of people's lights and power has been getting cut off because they can't afford the bill. And during the wintertime, man, them bills go getting up there. I don't know what the hell the power company be doing, man, but they be adjusting the rates for the seasons. Whether you're using the same amount or not, them rates go up. And if y'all notice in your bills, you're gonna see wintertime, and generally, depending on your area where you're living, you're gonna use the heat a little bit more because it's cold out or whatever the case may be. If you're in a place where it's hot, you're gonna use your air conditioning a little bit more than normal. However, either way, I know that they be raising up the rates. I just got a notification, an email about my power bill going up 13%. Just on some because environmental changes and things have caused us to have to go up on your bill starting October. If you got any questions, read the fine print. And you want me to read 20 pages of small ass fine print telling me that There's nothing I can do about it anyway. It's wicked out here, man. But look, more Americans are getting their power shut off as unpaid bills pile up. This is nationwide. Soaring electricity prices are triggering a wave of power shutoffs nationwide, leaving more Americans in the dark as unpaid bills pile up. Although there is no national count of electricity shutoffs, data from select utilities in 11 states show that disconnections have risen in at least 8 of them since last year. Times is getting tough, and next year is going to be even worse, y'all. Look at this. Inside Atlanta's first government-funded supermarket. Oh, that's right. Government-funded supermarket. Guess who's coming to dinner? Guess who's trying to take over and corner the market? You know, and you're seeing, what's the guy's name? Mamdani over there in New York, a self-proclaimed socialist, is saying that's the new wave, man. The young crowd is with it. They saying we want a socialist government. What is a socialist government? Maybe some of y'all don't understand. If you're looking for looking for a blueprint, go look and see what's up with Venezuela and their economy. Let's see what socialism, how does it operate. Let's just look at the first thing. Any various theories or systems of social organization in which the means of producing and distributing goods is owned collectively by a centralized government that often plans and controls the economy. Did you hear that? The government owns and distributes all the goods. Now, does that mean, oh, you're going to get free healthcare? You're going to get free, or discounted benefits and things of that nature, education, all that? Yeah, all that comes along with it. But guess what? When the money runs dry and you can't keep paying for everything, that's when you got to keep pumping out more money. You got to keep printing up money. And the more money you print, the more inflationary the dollar gets and the less value that it has. I seen an article earlier today that said $100,000 right now is equivalent to $40,000 in like 1990. So, I mean, basically what they're saying is $100,000 ain't nothing no more. And I shared an article with that too, man. People making 6 figures are living check to check, struggling right now. So, short and sweet, man, socialism is when the government pretty much runs and takes over everything, pays for it, they own everything. See, look at this. It's just in, what's the name? Let's look at Britannica instead of Wikipedia. Socialism, social economic doctrine that calls for public rather than private ownership or control of property and natural resources. So nothing is private. There is no capitalism. There is no, this is my business. No, it's owned by the government. You just operate the business. Private property out the door. That goes into Agenda 2030. You won't own anything. But technically, it's already like that now because don't nobody own their homes. You're still paying land taxes on the land. You don't pay them taxes, man. They come to seize that anyway. You got 30-year mortgages, man. People that never make it because they go back, refinance, and they add it on, doubling back on the bill. You're stuck in the loop forever. Trump's talking about 50-year mortgages. I mean, let's keep it real. According to the socialist view, individuals do not live or work in isolation, but live in cooperation with one another. Yeah, you work for the collective. There's no private ownership. There's nothing that you can say is yours anymore. You work for the collective. A hive mind, ant colony. Furthermore, everything that people produce is in some sense a social product, and everyone who contributes to the production of a good is entitled to share in it. Sounds good, right? We all working collectively for everybody to be able to share. In theory, right? Society as a whole, therefore, should own or at least control property for the benefit of all its members, but that ain't how it works. The government controls and runs it all. They set out the projects, the people work it, and then they, divide it up. But then when they can't pay for it all, when they can't sustain it, They print up that money, and next thing you know, is invaluable. And you see people out there in Venezuela making purses out of the dollar because it's not worth anything. Me and Alada seen an article, maybe must have been 5, 6 years ago, where they were paying with flakes of gold for haircuts and stuff, showing the value of the precious metals over the dollar that they were using down there in Venezuela now. And you can see that now. The precious metals, man, is out there booming. The dollar's going down, crypto's bad, but the metals is still riding. So Atlanta, first government-funded supermarket. Goal is for the store to become profitable without any government subsidy within 3 years. So they're saying, look, it's government ran right now. If we can get it cracking and moving profitably for over the next 3 years, the plan is to cut the contract. But let's look a little bit in this article, because here's the key. When you start getting government-funded supermarkets, how far away are we from 15-minute city? Digital ID provided resources. Your local supermarket now is owned by the government, it's funded by the government, and it's going to be qualified for you to enter in via your digital ID. Remember the Dollar General up there in the mountains of Colorado, I think that was in? And they had nobody working in the store, had 100 cameras in there. You go in, you scan your ID. People went in there, scanned everything that they needed, they walked out, and they got billed through their digital wallet. Similar concepts, right? See, they're teasing it and throwing it out there in your face. They're showing it to you slowly but surely. When the Azalea Fresh Market opened this summer, it became the only supermarket to operate in this city's downtown in 2 decades. Did you hear that? So they're putting it in food desert areas. 20 years they didn't have a supermarket in downtown. Now they throw it in there, but guess who owns it? Guess who funds it? To make that happen, the city contributed $8 million in cash and other grants. Now, this 20,000 square foot store is the beginning of what officials hope will be more publicly funded but privately run supermarkets to come. The goal is for the store to become profitable without any government subsidy within 3 years. The city is already aiding with the construction of a second planned store 6 miles away, expected to open next year. Atlanta officials spent years trying to lure major chain grocery stores to neighborhoods that don't offer residents big supermarkets with fresh, healthy food. City officials said the partnership was necessary because large private operators have been reluctant to open a store in poorer neighborhoods. So look who they are targeting. They go into the hood and say, man, well, look, Ralph's, El Super, Kroger's, whatever, they ain't trying to go over there. So we got to fund our own. So Atlanta city officials saying, hey, if we can, I'm sure they had to raise the taxes, build up this little cash fund. They got some grants. They got up, $8 million to open up this get this government funded supermarket going. And they're saying, hey, once we're profitable enough, we can pay that back and we can get you off our backs and we can operate on our own. You know that ain't gonna happen. You know the so-called white man is not letting that go. They ain't giving out grants. They ain't gonna let control go to let niggas have their own grocery stores. That's out. Look at here. Publicly funded and government-run grocery stores haven't always succeeded. A city-funded grocery store in Kansas City, Missouri closed recently after 10 years and $18 million in public investment, with its nonprofit operator citing crime and a dwindling number of customers. See that? So they already been trying it, but it always ends up failing. And then when they end up losing out on $18 million investment, they're saying, oh, it's because of crime and people wasn't going to them. So good luck, Atlanta. They taking that money from the government and the government's funding these places. And I'm pretty sure the government's going to end up having some influence on what can go into them stores too. They saying fresh and healthy food. Negroes don't know what that is. They be down there eating Frankenfoods and GMOs all damn day with a fake label saying organic. Naturally grown. Yeah, well, come on. That's a whole nother thing. The labeling is a whole nother scam and thing that they do. But nonetheless, I digress. We got more. Outrage bills as Franken milk made in labs prepared to hit U.S. grocery shelves. I mean, what else can there be for the milk drinkers? And I know many of our people don't even mess with it, but there's some who still drinking it, who need it or whatever. But know what's out there. Franken milk. You got the Franken foods with the GMOs out there. Years ago, I did a class about death on the plate and all of the corruption that goes on within the food systems and all that. And just search the history if you ain't seen it. Go look on the channel; it's there. I mean, when the scriptures say, man, y'all know the scripture in Ezekiel 4. Ezekiel 4 and let's verse 13. We'll get right to it. And Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. So part of our cursings, part of our scatterings in the diaspora is us to be amongst the Gentiles, and we're eating defiled bread wherever we go, right? I mean, this man has made it his life's mission to make sure that the food supply, air, water, everything is compromised. I mean, if we're not eating of faith, I mean, of course, we're going to follow after the law. Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. Apply the faith. Read the labels as best you can. Trust what you can. But at the end all be all, the Lord said, yeah, you're going to be eating your defiled bread amongst the Gentiles, man. I mean, they're over here spraying the air with toxic chemicals, chemtrails. The fallout is hitting the grass. The cows are eating that. They're the same ones as, organic, grass-fed. You dig what I'm saying? The fallout's falling on them. They eating it, the whole nine. Oh, but they were humanely killed? Yeah, okay. What's in them? Then why are the damn cancer rates going up? How come, intestinal and gut issues is at an all-time high? You understand what I'm saying? So, look, even in Mark 16:18, it says, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So when the Holy Spirit, comes upon the elect and those of us who the Lord, spares through his grace and mercy, man, the Lord said, we're going to drinking deadly things and still going to be surviving. That's why so-called white man gets so frustrated with us. He's saying, damn, same way in Egypt. The more they afflicted us, the more we grew. He said, man, I'm doing every damn thing to get rid of these people, man. I'm dividing and I'm conquering. I'm, poisoning the food, the water. I'm hitting them in the air. I'm knocking them upside the head with vaccines. I'm doing everything I can to get rid of them and diminish their population, but they still keep coming. That's only the Lord. So, outrage bills as Franken milk made in labs prepares to hit U.S. grocery shelves. Yeah, and the FDA is already, sanctioned lab grown meat doesn't have to be labeled in the stores now, man. I mean, when the scriptures say, man, the just shall live by faith, I mean that's a fact. A Frankenstein-like milk that comes from lab-grown mammalian cell cultures is just months away from being sold in U.S. grocery stores, but is already facing fierce resistance. Dubbed Unreal Milk. Unreal Milk, Impossible Meat. What's the other one they got? They got Impossible Burgers and they got, Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat, Impossible, Unreal. I mean, what other descriptive names can you put out here for these foods, man? Dubbed Unreal Milk. The new beverage is not produced by real animals, but comes from large lab tanks called bioreactors that use special animal cells which produce the same proteins, fats, and carbs found in regular cow's milk. Yeah, so you see it's not produced by real animals. The same way that Bill Gates, you seen him over there with his recycle machine translating raw sewage and poop into drinking water. I played you that video, and the cat, after they gave it to him, man, he told him drink it. He was like, yeah. And I can't remember in the video if he drank it or not. But nonetheless, even if he did, how do we know that was the actual water that came from the damn machine? But anyway, the makers of the milk alternative Brown Foods plan to start selling Unreal milk in stores in 2026 with public taste tests happening now. Watch that milk, y'all. Continuing on. Trump signs Genesis mission order that directs Energy Department science agencies to embrace AI. So next level. Energy Department now going to be controlled and ran by AI. AI is going to co-opt the energy system. Now you see why all of these smart homes and smart meters are on the new homes now, so it can interface with AI. Oh yeah, you didn't know about that? The smart meters that's in your homes, listening and watching, and regulating your temperatures in your homes and all this. All right. President Donald Trump signed an executive order Monday at the White House that launches the, quote, Genesis mission, which directs science agencies such as the Energy Department to embrace artificial intelligence. The order is expected to accelerate scientific breakthroughs in critical areas such as pharmaceuticals, energy production, and engineering. According to Politico, one source told the outlet the program will be particularly funded through the One Big Beautiful Bill Trump signature tax and spending measure he signed into law earlier the year. From the founding of our republic, scientific discovery and technological innovation has driven American progress and prosperity. Trump wrote in the order, today America is in the race. Listen to this. Is in a race for global technology dominance. That's why I said earlier. The whistleblowers that's coming from Silicon Valley that was in all these tech fields and building AI that bounced out of there, and they said, man, that they're trying to do something we didn't sign up for. And there's a race between nations, and whoever wins is going to control everything. Prophetically, we know that America is going to win, because that's why this place is going to need to be destroyed. Remember, I said this is going to be the place of every foul and hateful bird. Everything's going to be flowing out of this place. Today, America is in a race for global technology dominance and the development of artificial intelligence, an important frontier of scientific discovery and economic growth. So there you have it. AI now is going to be part of the Energy Department. They're talking about building pharmaceuticals with AI, energy production and engineering. So that's, the production that's going into the smart meters and all that other stuff. So there you go. More on this. White House defends pardon of ex-Honduras president convicted of drug trafficking. Did you hear that? I thought Trump was declaring the war on drugs. He's the new Ronald Reagan. Didn't he say that he's going to declare war on all the cartels? He's going to get rid of all the drug dealers. Meanwhile, he's pardoning a couple of GMO small hat, AstroTurf, fake fraud small hats. One of which I believe, what did he do? Got into it with somebody at the synagogue, had some, I don't want to know if it was PDF charges, but I forgot. But I remember covering a couple of them. Another one got caught up with fraud. He did like 10 years, got out, and then committed fraud again for like $200-some million. Now he's pardoning ex-Honduran president convicted of drug trafficking. Now he's pardoning a convicted drug dealer. But I thought that's what he's fighting down there in Venezuela. You see, this is his tongue always devising mischief. This is him always plotting and planning to expand his evil. This cat, man, from what I was hearing and reading, Juan Orlando Hernandez, the ex-president, he's got some ties to some of to I think Peter Thiel and some of Trump's AI tech buddies and billionaire buddies, man. And they tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we need our boy out. He's going to be valuable to you and to us." And Trump saying, "Hey, but I thought we were supposed to get rid of all the drug dealers. We were." They said, "No. This one, he's with us." Well, the narrative was, "I'm going to fight the cartels." No, you're not. Look at this. He was opposed to the values of the previous administration, and they charged him because he was the president of Honduras. Carolyn Levitt said, because they're saying he was opposed to the values of the previous administration. So, of course, again, here they go blaming the Democrats. Oh, because he was anti-Biden, they had him locked up. What? We're freeing anybody that was anti-Biden. And you know what's going to happen too with that damn $220,000, not $2,000 tariff dividend and all that. When that don't get approved and Congress says get the hell out of there, he's going to say, "Look, I tried the Democrats. It's their fault." He's already got the excuse lined up. You know what he's going to say, and he's going to let everybody down. All these people sitting back saying Trump's going to get us some money. He ain't giving no money. Look at this. White House press secretary Carolyn Levitt on Monday defended President Donald Trump's pardon of former Honduran president and convicted drug dealer Juan Orlando Hernandez, arguing his conviction was instead the result of a politicized trial last year. During a White House press briefing, Levitt justified the administration's lifeline to Hernandez, arguing the two-term president's charges had been mired by a corrupt over-prosecution under former President Joe Biden's administration. Now you see how America runs everything? He's the former president of Honduras, but guess what? He got tried in America, and they sent his butt to prison. Look at this. Hernandez was sentenced last year to 45 years in a U.S. prison for conspiring to transport hundreds of tons of cocaine through his country and into the U.S. The former Honduran president had also been accused of taking bribes during his campaign for Joaquin Guzman, the infamous Mexican cartel leader known as El Chapo, and raking in millions of dollars in drug money from drug trafficking organizations. So this guy was plugged in. This is who they're saying President Maduro is in Venezuela. Now, if that's the case, then Trump might as well let him go too. I mean, this is ridiculous. You talk about living in a damn bizarro world, man. You talking about white men speak with forked tongue and hypocrisy. You're supposed to be fighting drugs. You're supposed to be going to war with the cartels, but you're pardoning a convicted, quote unquote, drug trafficking kingpin ex-president that was running with El Chapo, but that's your buddy. He can get out though. All right, y'all see the point. Here we go. Donald Trump threatened to attack on Colombia amid Venezuela warfare. So there he goes again. Venezuela ain't enough. The president of Colombia has been coming out condemning Donald Trump, condemning the attacks, calling him out, saying it's not over drugs, it's over the oil resources, the gold, and everything else. And now Trump's saying, "Oh, you talking too? I'll bomb you too." But this is the peacetime president, man. This is the guy that says he's going to end all the wars. I can't tell. Mom and pop businesses, bankruptcies hit a record as debts rise. Yeah, they're saying unemployment numbers, the economy is worse than COVID, and it was bad then. Now you're seeing a lot of mom and pop businesses closing up. A lot of mom and pop businesses got shut down during COVID. Now they're still folding up. I'm still riding around. I'm seeing boarded up businesses all over the place. All of the 99-cent stores that got shut down and closed out, I ain't seen one person or one business reopen and occupy that space with a new business. Every 99-cent store that I've seen, nobody's restarted one. Actually, no, I'm lying. One did in Inglewood. They opened up a Harbor Freight. And they just recently opened that one up about 6 months ago. Prior to that, that 99-cent store had been gone for like 2 years. Other than that, there ain't nobody touching the stuff, man. A lot of mom and pop businesses, man, can't survive. They getting shut down. Okay, let's continue. November private payrolls unexpectedly fell by 32,000, led by steep small business job cuts. So look, small businesses now are being affected. They're cutting and laying off workers. Look at this. U.S. labor market slowdown intensified in November as private companies cut 32,000 workers, with small businesses hit the hardest payroll processing firm, ADP reported Wednesday. Yeah. It's going to be the haves and the have-nots. That one time when you had your own business, your own restaurant, your own clothing line, or your own little coffee shop, they getting ready to shut all of that down. And a lot of businesses, man, unfortunately, are losing their lifetime, dreams, their investments, everything else gone. Because the climate economically is squeezing them to where they can't afford to survive. Inflation, the cost of the food supplies, everything else, supply chains, the tariffs, it's costing them too much to operate. Medical benefits now, prices are going up. A lot of these jobs, man, they can't afford to pay benefits for these workers no more. They're trying to cut the hours down so they ain't got to pay benefits and put people on part-time. When that ain't working, they just got to get rid of people. So, if you got the large businesses laying off and shutting down, the small ones is. Look at it. Extreme carnage. Crypto investors lose 800, what is this? Million? Trillion? Let's see. That's 100,000. 100 million. $800 billion. These are like, this is foolish video game money, really. You talking about at the touch of a button, all investments that you have in crypto could be gone. And then exactly that's what's been happening. In a month, $800 billion. Remember, I've been talking about, anybody that's in crypto, you see the Bitcoin, everything else is continually plunging because the economic confidence that they have in this place, man, is dwindling down. But they have to shut it all down because they need what? A great reset. They got to have a whole new plan to come back and build back better, as Slow Biden used to say. Agent Orange says he's going to make America affordable again. Well, how are you going to do that? You're going to have to shut some stuff down. You're going to have to crash some things. You're going to have a balloon. And I ain't talking about that goofy game show or whatever they did, little dating show. The economic bubble is going to pop. Look, it's a bloodbath out there right now. On Monday alone, crypto investors lost about $200 billion in just 24 hours. Overall, crypto investors have lost about $800 billion over the last month. In this article, I want to try to explain why this is happening and what's coming next. You see, the truth is out. The truth is that the era of easy money is ending. For a long time, investors could borrow yen at ultra low interest rates and use that money to purchase cryptocurrency and make amazing returns. But now Japanese bond yields are going nuts, and all variations of the yen carry trade are starting to unwind. So it's starting over there in the East with Japan, China. They're and a lot of them countries, man, China, they're over there hoarding and trying to buy gold and silver. Now they're even talking about how silver now is unattainable, and that's why that price is going up. The rarity of that, the silver exchange that runs through London, they're not pulling in the silver like they used to. So a lot of this stuff, man, is just it just writings on the wall that an economic reset or economic downturn is probably going to be happening sometime in the near future, sometime next year, maybe 2027. Who knows? One thing's for sure, two things for certain, man. Everybody and their mama saying something's going to crash sooner than later. And right now, we're seeing, the crypto markets taking strong hits. What's this? Let me see. Let's look at this. They've been talking about the SNAP benefits, right? Everybody worried about SNAP, back when the government was shut down. Now that it's back on, it's starting December 1st. SNAP now is under scrutiny. The restrictions that came along with that big, beautiful bill now is in effect. Look at this. Slakia.
Food stamp reform, when all of America saw what thing which became.
Now, this is a video where they're talking about how many people they cut off of SNAP, and they're saying the majority of them were people that were committing fraud, utilizing dead people's IDs and all this other stuff, right? But just watch this.
Thing which became very much a part of the national conversation during the Democrat shutdown was SNAP reform, food stamp reform. When all of America saw what so many of us know and have been working on, but when you have so much rampant fraud in a program that 42 million Americans participate in, now a big good piece of news that I hope is written about, since you became president, about 800,000 of those 42 million have moved off of food stamps.
So she's so happy. She's so gleeful. She's smiling. She's so happy about they didn't cut off 800,000 people from EBT. Now she says these are all fraud. 800,000 people were getting SNAP via fraud, is what they're saying. Whether it's from, like I said, people using dead people's social security numbers and all kind of other stuff. So she's saying we got rid of all the fraud people now. This is going to save us money.
Which is hopefully the plan, with better jobs, higher wages, et cetera. But still, when we found 186,000 dead people's social security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them.
So yeah, I mean, are there people out there finessing the system? Absolutely. But did you see what she said? Now we're pleading for all the states to submit all the information to the government and let us take control. It won't be state run anymore. It's going to be government ran. You need it, you got roll through us, right? Let me back it up one more time so you can make sure you caught that. She
But
said
also to ensure that the American taxpayer over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected.
Oh, how admirable of them. So not only people worried about the government shutdown, right? But now they're worried about, hold on, this damn creature. I didn't want to see him yet. Look at this. Matter of fact, let me switch this up. I had this on here, and yeah, let's look at this. Slacky. So as of December 1st, so not only did they already say, okay, well, we swept through 800,000 people, we cut off a SNAP. Now we got the new regulations coming in. Now, if you're gonna qualify, you want it. Now we've got a whole new way for you to attain to get it. Here we go. Major SNAP benefit law changes related to expanded work requirements and age limits took effect on December 1st. So it's in effect already right now. Key changes. The primary changes focus on able-bodied adults without dependents and impose stricter eligibility rules. Expanded age limit for work requirements. The upper age for individuals subject to the ABAWD work requirements has increased from 54 to 64. Adults in this age range must now work. Did you hear that? You're 54 to 64. They said you got to get out there and either work, be in training, or volunteer for at least 80 hours a month to receive the benefits. So That's 20 hours a week. You say that's not that bad. Well, guess what? There's no job. The job market is slim and none, and slim is out of town. So you might as well forget that. Train where? You're just telling another, 40 some odd million people, they all got to go scrap and fight for the same damn things. I mean, I don't know if the government is offering free training programs to get them into, or you got to go out and find your own. Volunteer where? So you're telling people we're cutting you off, and you're telling people, well, you can still get it, but you're gonna have to go out here and do these particular things. But those things really are, hard to come by. Essentially, they're gonna be cutting people off and leaving them out there in the cold. Change dependent child exemption. The exception for parents or household members caring for a dependent child now only applies if the child is under the age of 14, a change from the previous limit of under 18. So, parents or a household caring for a dependent child now only applies if the child is under the age of 14. So, once a child turns 15, them benefits is getting cut. It used to be 18 you get. No, 15 they cut off. Removal of certain exemptions, previous temporary exemptions for veterans, individuals experiencing homelessness, and former foster youth between the ages of 18 and 24 have been removed. So if you were in foster care between the ages of 18 and 24, you still was getting snapped. Now they're saying you're cut off. Once you're 18, out of foster care, you don't qualify for EBT no more. Veterans, homeless, they cutting Jakes off, man. Or tell them they either got to go out and work or train or volunteer somewhere. These new rules apply immediately to new applicants and the current recipients when they reach their next recertification date. States begin enforcing these rules on or around December 1st of 2025. And I believe they said for the people that weren't able to qualify or didn't get these things, they said they would be able to qualify to get benefits. I think they said 3 times in a span of a year or 2 years, something like that. But essentially, they barely gonna be getting anything if they're unable to do the work, train, or volunteer. They're getting cut off, but then they said they'll give them like one every 3 years. They'll qualify one for 1 month every 3 years. Some madness. Either way, it's gonna be hard as hell for people to survive. Look at this creature. Some of y'all seen this, but here you go. Oh, this is the man of the cloth. The man of the cloth. Look at his cloth. You see him?
Me this morning, and they asked for me to tell you all that they do not support me and that they have chosen their convictions and their beliefs over supporting their child.
Their convictions and their beliefs. So his parents told him, man, you a damn sodomite, man. A transformer. We're not supposed. It's not their beliefs. It's what the Bible says.
Everyone gets nervous when there's a special announcement from the pastor.
Did you? He's the pastor. Christianity, Catholicism is COOKED. Cooked.
I'm not leaving. Hold on to that.
Isn't these goofies talking about amen?
I'm going to hold you to it. So rarely do...
All right. We're not even going to let him play these games, man. Dude said he's coming out. He's transitioning. He still wants to represent the cloth. Here he goes. This is his alter ego. Today's a brand new day, and I have the immense joy to share that I have publicly announced that I am a transformer woman and am in the process of transitioning. God's creative transformation. Can you imagine a blasphemy, man? That he had the nerve to frame his slits in his mouth called lips. God's creative transformation is abundant in steadfast love through this. I'm deeply thankful for the friends, fellow clergy friends. Can you imagine? The district and the conference and the church members for their affirmation and support. This news is surprising to some and confirmation for others. Please be kind in your responses, not just to this one, but to everyone's post in this social media sphere. So the pastor now is becoming abroad. If this is not spiritual Sodom, man, where the priests of Babylon now are just coming out and saying, you heard her say, I'm not leaving. I'm going to transition. I'm going to come back as your female pastor now. Where's my bucket, man? I'm about to throw up. All right, let me close this out, man, before we lose anybody else. All right, look. European nations set to bring back pandemic era mask mandates as the virus surges. So we seen over there in Africa, the Ebola cases are jumping off, polio's back. There's a bug flying around now. Spain is already saying we need mask mandates back. Remember, they haven't forgot about pulling a dark horse out with another plague to bring everybody back into submission, right? So here it goes. Spain is gearing up to reinstate mask mandates in hospitals and other healthcare facilities as the nation grapples with a surge in flu cases ahead of the winter season. Perfect timing. I just seen the bastards, man, spraying chemtrails the other day. You know, it's that time, as they quote unquote say, flu season. You expect to see all of the commercials, the Mucinex, the NyQuils, the Sudafeds, all of the damn experimental flu shot, commercials. It's been unleashed. They out there, right? Look at this. Mysterious 400-mile stretch of radiation fog blankets 13 million Americans. Yeah, earlier this week, it was heavy fog a couple of days out there. And people were tripping like, what the hell? Where's all this fog coming from? Out of nowhere. Now, let's not forget Operation Sea Spray up in San Francisco that they did back in the day. What? Yeah, y'all don't remember that? Let me remind you real quick. Satan said, no, you're not bringing out Operation You're not bringing out Operation Sea Spray. Well, why not? We're going to try one more time. We can't let him win, y'all. We got to keep it pushing. Let's look at real quick. Operation Sea Spray was a 1950 U.S. Navy secret biological warfare experiment in which Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigilli bacteria were sprayed over San Francisco Bay Area in California in order to determine how vulnerable a city like San Francisco may be to a bioweapon attack. There has been speculation that the experiment may have contributed to one death and at least 10 illnesses, but no link has ever been demonstrated. I mean, we know about Avon Park, Florida. We know about what they did in St. Louis. You see what's going on with the AI tech centers being built down there in Louisiana. I believe in Mississippi. People are coming up with cancer, dying. Our people being exposed to harsh chemicals, radiation. And this was a fog-like spray that they was letting out in San Francisco. Now here we go again. Salakia, where's that article at? Here we go. Mysterious 400-mile stretch of radiation fog blankets 13 million Americans. A massive cloud of radiation fog has been blanketing California Central Valley for days, leading to travel warnings and air quality alerts for 13 million people. More than 20 counties across a 400-mile stretch of the state have been hit by the phenomenon, which occurs when the ground cools rapidly after sunset, releasing heat back into the air and creating dense, low-lying fog. While it is unrelated to nuclear radiation, of course, let's put out a disclaimer. It's not us. We would never do that to you, and generally should not endanger human health. I'm sure they told the people up there in San Francisco the same thing, St. Louis the same thing, Avon Park, Florida the same thing, Guatemala the same thing. Officials have warned that radiation fog can cause extreme risk for driver visibility and severely impact air quality by trapping local pollutants close to the ground. So, the biggest worry is you're driving and you might catch, some pollutants from the ground because it's going to be risen up through the fog. But we're not calling it radiation fog blankets. That just sounds sensational. It's not because of the radiation in the blanket. No, the devil is in the details, boy. I'll tell you. That should do it for this evening. I mean, need I say more? Man? The devil is at work, right? Need everybody to stay focused, man. Stay vigilant. Stay in the spirit, right? If you were unable to catch this last night, I'm talking to you guys that are just waking up today. You guys are just now realizing, it's Saturday, it's Sabbath, and the daytime, you're like, oh, shoot, I was asleep last night. I didn't know. I was watching, some other brothers last night. All good. Shabbat shalom to you. But make sure on your way out, man, you wipe them feet. Hit that like button, man. Let the algorithm know, man, that you watched this content and that you appreciated it and you want others to see it as well. That's all it takes. We don't panhandle over here at DSTM, man. The Lord sustains us as best as he can. We do what we do, man. We appreciate anybody and everyone who submitted alms and sent it to us to help us with the ministry. All praise, honor, and glory to all of y'all. But giving a little thumbs up is free, man. You're doing your own work by even sharing and subscribe, sharing the information and posting it elsewhere, whatever. You're doing your work that way too. So with that being said, I bid y'all a blessed good evening. And it's Shabbat Shalom, man. Till the next time. Lord willing, see y'all tomorrow in our closing Shabbat class, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.